Good morning, students. Let us start today's online class. Today, once more, I am going to start novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and chapter number 15, The Discovery of Oz the Terrible. Already you know, in previous lecture we have taken chapter number 14, question answers, match the columns, and grammar and vocabulary also. And I hope you have done these in a book, just like match the columns and grammar and vocabulary in a book, and question answers in a notebook. It is my hope that you are doing properly. Today I am going to explain this one chapter, and before reading I would like to read this question also. How would you feel if someone whom you kept in high regards turned out to be a traitor? Means what is here? How would you feel if someone whom you kept in high regards? Means you kept the person in a high regards. High means very high respect, and it turns out to be a traitor, turns out to be a cheater. Then how would you feel? This question's answer will come out from this story, and you have to listen properly and moves a finger. Students, while you listen this video, then you have to keep open your book and moves a finger with the lines, so you will be able to understand clearly. So I'm reading this one, these lines, and you also have to study properly. The four travelers walked up to the great gate of Emerald City and rang the bell. Four travelers means Dorothy, Tin Woodman, Scarecrow, Lion walked up to the great gate of Emerald City. Means towards the gate of the Emerald City they walked up, and they rang the bell of the gate. The same guardian of the gates opened the door. Means same guardians means what is here? The guardians before they met, means already they had come to the Emerald City, and it was the second time when they reached. So the same guardian of the gates opened the door. What, you again? He asked in surprise. Means the guardian of the gate asked in surprise that they had reached again in the Emerald City's gate. He was surprised. I thought you had gone to visit the Wicked Witch of the West. And he said that he was thinking that the Dorothy, Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Woodman already had gone to visit the land of Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch of the West. But after seeing them, he was too surprised. But what happened there? In next line also I am taking, children. We did visit her, said the Scarecrow, and made her melt. And Scarecrow replied to the gate of the guardians that they had visited to the west, wicked witch of the west, and they made her melt also. Means they had melted her. Well, that is good news indeed, said the man who melted her. Surprisingly, he asked, and well, very nice. That is good thing. Means that was a good news for him indeed. It was a good news for him. But he surprisingly asked also, who melted her? Her means here wicked witch. So next line also, it was Dorothy, said the lion. On it, lion said that it was Dorothy who had melted the wicked witch of the west. Good gracious, exclaimed the man, and he bowed low before her. And on it, good gracious. Here you know what is here? An exclamation of ancient or surprise. Means very surprisingly, and he exclaimed the man, good gracious. And he bowed low before the Dorothy. Then he led them in and towards the palace of Oz. Then the guardian of the gate led them inside of the palace and towards the palace of the Oz also. Next para I'm taking children. The soldiers with the green whiskers was on guard before the door. Means here what is the soldiers with green whiskers was on guard before the door, and before the door there were the soldiers as a guard, and whose whiskers were in a green in color. He led them in at once. Means the guard who was standing very soon permitted them to enter in the palace, in the room, and they were again taken to their room. And very soon they means Dorothy, Tin Woodman, Lion, and Scarecrow took their room again. Next, I'm taking the soldiers had the news carried straight to Oz that Dorothy and the other travelers had come back again after destroying the wicked witch, but Oz made no reply for many days. The soldiers had the news carried straight to Oz, and it was the duty of the soldiers to carry the news straight to the Oz that Dorothy and other travelers had come back again to the palace. Means it was the duty of the soldiers to send this message to the Oz. And after means what was after destroying the wicked witch of the west. But what happened here? But Oz made no reply for many days. But Oz, the wizard, wonderful wizard of Oz, did not reply for many days. Finally, when the scarecrow threatened to call the winged monkeys, the wizard sent words for them to come to the throne room at 9 o'clock the next day. But finally, when the Dorothy and his companions understood that the Oz was not ready to replied them, so they threatened. Threatened means they made a cause. What is here to be valuable or risk and danger. Means having a threaten means a scarecrow threatened to the Oz and to call the winged monkeys. After listening this, the Wizard of Oz sent words for meeting to the throne room at 9 o'clock next day. At 9 o'clock the next morning, they all went into the throne room of the great Oz. Means all means Dorothy, Lion, Tin Woodman, and Scarecrow all went to the throne room at 9 o'clock in the next morning, and throne room of the great Oz. Means where the great Oz had asked them to come, they went there. We have come to claim our promise, Oz, Dorothy said. Dorothy said that Oz, we have come to claim our promise. Whatever promise you had means that he had made them, that he had to fulfill. Is the wicked witch really destroyed? Asked the boys. Means Oz asked that was the wicked witch really destroyed? On it, Dorothy exclaimed, Miss replied that, yeah, now you must keep your promises to us. Macy replied that they had completed their promise. Now he had to keep his promise. When next para I'm taking, when Oz did not reply, the lion gave a large loud roar. Means when the Oz did not reply, the lion gave a large loud roar, means roared at the Oz, which was so fierce that Toto jumped away and tripped over the screen that stood in a corner. Means it was a way too fierce, means it was a frightening roar. So Toto jumped away, and Toto jumped away from the lap of Dorothy and tipped over a screen and is strike over the screen that stood in a corner. And what happened there, students? As it fell with a crash, they looked that way and saw standing a little old man. Means as the Toto crash with a fell with a crash, they looked that way also, and they saw that a little old man was standing with a bald head and a wrinkled face. The little old man was a bald headed. Bald headed means, having no hairs, and he was having a wrinkled in his face. The tin old man cried out, Who are you? On it, tin old man cried out, Who was that man? So, what is there? Answer is coming out. I am Oz, the great and terrible, said the little man. The little man who was standing there replied that he was a Oz. I have been making beliefs, he said to them. I have been making believe, he said to them. And he, means Oz, said to Dorothy and his friends that he was making believe. Are you not a great wizard? Cried Dorothy. And Dorothy also cried that were he not a great wizard? Means he was not a great wizard. On it, not a bit of it. Oz told them that he did magic tricks. Means for a moment he stay, and then he replied that he made some magic tricks and was a ventriloquist. Ventriloquist means a person, especially an entertainer. Means he was a entertainer with the magic tricks. He had fooled the travelers with his dresses and masks. And with his dresses and masks, the travelers who were coming to him, he was making fool. Really, said the scarecrow, you ought to be ashamed. On it, scarecrow said to the Oz that he was a cheater and he ought to be ashamed also. Okay, students, I am taking only this much till page number 75. Next paras I will take in next lecture. Till then, you have to go through this lesson properly, these lines also, and try to understand it. Okay, see you again. Till then, goodbye.